Hey everybody, welcome to the very first episode of Dota Analysis, or Dota-alysis if you want to read it all in one word. This is very impromptu, so sorry about the people who just put the message out right now on Twitter and on Steam and all that kind of stuff. There's a whole lot to this, and this has been something we've been planning for a while, but it's also something that we looked at the calendar and we're like, shit, we're running out of time. We need to get this out as soon as possible. So this is going to be a new show that we're doing, a part of a whole big giant project that is absolutely fantastic. We were hoping to have out and ready to go by now, but we'll have it up soon. So for the time being, this is episode 1. I am Finch, MJ Finch. You can call me Finch, whatever you want. I'm from Dota Insight, and also the newly formed Flipside Tactics. And then with me on the show is Hector Frost, as other people know him. What's up, man?
Not much, bro. Hey, nice to have you on. I'm glad that we can get you on a new show.
Yeah,
we're really excited about the future and everything that Flipside Tactics has been a part of and will continue to be a part of.
Yeah, so just to start it off, why don't you set up the show, since this was kind of your initiative? Okay. What are we going to see in the future?
This will be a weekly professional competitive scene discussion. Like, we're eventually going to have replays and commentary and analysis on the replays that you see throughout the week of professional games. This show is meant to serve as a guide for all those who just can't watch every game. We'll be breaking down the biggest games from the biggest tourneys throughout each week, right? So that's what this show's about. This show is just a cog in the wheel. It's part of a overarching process and agenda that Flipside Tactics has, which Finch will also be the host of a new show called Dota for Dummies, which we hope to have out really soon. Obviously, you guys know about Dota Insight. Hopefully by now you know about the Dota 101 series. And we're going to continue with this being the whole professional portion of what we're going to do. So hopefully you guys enjoy our content, and hopefully you guys will end up supporting us and all that good jazz. But for now, I hope you guys enjoy this show. And by all means, leave as much feedback as you can. Can we actually use the Dota Insight feedback email? Because we haven't created one.
Yeah. We can use that for the time being.
Cool.
That'll work. And then definitely going forward, today's going to be a little bit different. Today we kind of just wanted to get a show out there because we have the qualifier starting here on Monday. At least with kind of some build-up and predictions and what we think. Because it's fun to make predictions and then get them all wrong. So that's what we figured we'd take care of today. And then obviously the VOD, we were going to throw the VOD up on the Flipside Tactics YouTube, and which is it's Flipside with the E, right? They're the 3 for the E.
Mm-hmm.
And
just like you guys see in the logo in the background.
Yes. FLIPSIDE, and then the last D is the 3, and then Tactics, right?
Yep.
Cool. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. It'll be up on there. And then going forward, what we're going to do is we're going to try to take the pro games like Frost already said, and then we're going to break them down, and hopefully we'll get some good YouTube footage, or not YouTube, but VOD footage of the actual plays in game. And so we'll have a portion where we can show the replay of a thing that happened, and then we can talk about it and do some Dota analysis on it at the same time. So this is the first episode in a long process, and we're going to be learning the process along the way. But today we're just going to mostly go over kind of the predictions and all that kind of stuff, getting excited for the I guess the qualifiers, the Western qualifiers first. So I guess right away we're going to jump over to Dota. For Dota, basically we're just going to use the Compendium as a baseline, and we're going to go through that and just it'll be free flowing, and we'll see what happens. All right.
Okay.
So we're on the Compendium now. If you have the fancy technology that we have. Did you want to go over about the invites and things like that real quick, or?
Sure. I'm sour about Kaipi not making it yet. IC Cup, and I mean, you and I had this discussion. There's a few teams that are on there that I don't feel have. I don't know if they're really the best teams to be representing the best that Dota has to offer. Mm-hmm. And a lot of arguments that were presented to me in particular, right, even from you, were that, hey, well, they're not really. They've had roster changes recently and all this stuff, yet it just so happens that so does pretty much every team in here. Most notably, obviously, Navi within the last few months, Team Dignitas recently as well. So, I mean, it is what it is. It's not something that I will bother complaining about. Unfortunately, for Kaipi, I feel like they are actually really good and deserving, and they just stomped actually in We Play Team Liquid right now. So, I mean, it was pretty bad, at least in game two. So I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. I definitely feel like Valve kind of struggled coming out of the gate already with not only the launch of the tickets, but certain rules that they implemented for the qualifiers. And I don't know. It's, I hope everything works out. It's unfortunate though, but I definitely feel like some of the teams here are undeserving. But I mean, it is what it is. Like, I wasn't part of the process, so my opinion matters this much. But
very, very little.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm happy with the qualify or the teams announced to the qualifiers. I think Kaipe could have gone either way. I think they were kind of in the same boat as IC Cup, as like a coin flip that you could take either one of those teams and roll with it. I think the only thing that when it came down to it was IC Cup's been more stable for a little bit longer, and if anything, they've proven that they're committed to that whole stable idea with the whole drama of LGD. Removing Long DD and now getting bumped into the qualifier slot where previously they were an invite team. I think it just came down to they've been around longer with the stable roster. Kaipe's relatively new, and they also changed quite a bit of players. They brought in Eternal Envy, and then they also brought in Come With Me, and they brought in Artsy, all within relatively close to the qualifiers announcement and things like that.
Well, but so did DD. Remember, they had Goblack and Mad. I mean...
Yeah, but I think it was how close it was to the qualifiers, and then also the amount of players. 3 players is more than 50% of the team.
That we can't disagree with.
So that can't disagree with math.
Yeah.
But I think it just came down to both of them, and it was kind of a coin flip either way. It is what it is, like you said. You can't do too much about it now, and games going forward. And then also the LGD situation, just real briefly on that, since I think we're going to do West and East qualifier kind of discussion today, and then that way next week we could do analysis from the games from the Western qualifiers, the week after analysis from the games from the Eastern qualifiers, and we can keep it more focused on hero picks, situations, item builds, like more of the nitty-gritty decision-making stuff that we'd like to talk about. So today we'll do West and East, get it all out of the way, easy peasy. So as far as the whole LGD thing, do you think that was the right decision to bump them down?
Yes, I think it sucks for Vici and Rising Stars, who I think are really, really, really good, and unfortunately are not going to be making it out of the qualifiers.
Yep.
It's unfortunate. I understand that ego happens and things happen, although some professional players don't agree with me, because I remember Aoi was like, professional players don't have egos on the Much Ado About Dota show. And like, I didn't have the balls at the time to just outright say to him, but didn't your teammate just quit because of ego? Because I wasn't trying to like stir drama live. But no, but the truth is, like, it's unfortunate that Long DD gets kicked out of a team because of a discussion or an argument that got out of control. We don't know the story, but Long DD is the one that got hit. And yet the one that did the hitting is on the team because he's quote unquote a better player. I mean, that whole situation to me is nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Nuts.
And also too, I mean, Long DD was the newest member on the team.
Yeah.
So it sounds like there was more to it than...
Yeah, oh, for sure. But, it's unfortunate that something like that had to happen, that LGD then became relegated into a qualifying position, and they're just outright, in a way, just the best team there. I mean, they're arguably top 3 in the world, and they ruined an opportunity for somebody else because of everything else that happened. It was a crazy, the ripple effect was huge.
Mm-hmm.
Because they shattered other people's dreams in the process. So it's really unfortunate.
Yep. All right, so let's talk about these qualifier games. I already have the Compendium open, so people are gonna see my predictions. So there's no secrets there, unfortunately, unless you're on audio. Then I guess there could be some kind of secret. I guess just go straight to the first and second qualifiers, or we can even talk about each individual team. Why don't we go over each individual team and kind of thoughts on it. So the Western qualifiers are going to be beginning Monday, May 13th, and they'll be going for a week. It's going to be over on the Good Studio stream. If you go to twitch.tv/The Good Studio, you can watch them there. And I think it's no doubt these are going to be the most competitive, most highest production value best just all around games of Dota that we've seen, and I'd say within the last probably, I don't know, 3-4 months, probably since the G League finals. I think this is where teams are going to pull out the pocket strategy stuff they've been working on and training on for months and months, and the best players and all that kind of stuff. So right off the bat, then Mouse Sports. What are your predictions on Mouse Sports? Do you think they have any shot in this?
Yeah, hell yeah, because they have Black. And even though Cinderin now is on that team and it's sort of recent, his drafting experience, like in my opinion, now that EG has replaced their old captain, even though Fear I think is, I mean, outstanding. You know, he's my favorite North American player, and he is the best North American player currently at the moment. I feel like the drafting prowess of that team is just, you know, far and away the best. Team Empire, I think, is shortly behind that. The problem is they lost Goblak, and Goblak is outstanding. Mm-hmm. But they have Black, and Black is one of the best carries in the world. Not only that, but he is probably, since Fear no longer is carrying, I would definitely say he's the best carry player in the entire West qualifier. So when you have a player that good, I mean, you'll always have a shot. I don't know what's going to happen, but I definitely give them a shot for sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, see, I was going to say the complete opposite, actually. I was going to say they were one of the weakest teams in this, unfortunately. I like Cinderin. I think he's a really good player, and I think you're right. He's a drafter. I think Black is still kind of the leaps and bounds ahead skill-wise of everybody, and this is going to kind of be the Mouse that we saw earlier, which was the 4+ Black show. And if he gets his farm and his items, then shit will happen. If not, it's going to be a little bit risky, and especially on a stage like this, where this is the top of the top. You know, I don't want to sound off like, oh, they're not a good team. Like, just comparing them to someone like Q Pandas, Empire, EG, I'd say even Roxas, maybe AL. I think all those teams are above where Mouse is. But also,
but none of them have the experience.
That is true. So Mouse has been together for a decent amount of time, and I think Cinderin, like you said, is drafting. His drafting is really good. So hopefully they have some stuff up their sleeve to kind of pull out.
Remember, the problem with Cinderin was his mid play, and he refused to play support on MTW.
Right.
And his heart wasn't in it. But it's quite a humbling experience, right? When you keep trying to form your own teams and they suck, and then you realize that you're better off making decisions. Like, he was always destined to be a Kuroki more than he was a Burning or a Dendi.
Right.
And I think at the time, I mean, I know him a little bit personally, so I don't want to sound like, you know, his biggest fanboy.
So
but I think at the time his ego got in the way, and I think now that it isn't, I mean, I don't know, but lately, if you've been seeing him support, he's fucking ridiculous. Like, he's shitting all over. I mean, Windrunner supporting in lane, like, destroying teams, and he's now their captain.
Right. And actually, that game you're talking about, Windrunner, wasn't that the Max Shackle first game? And just shackle Windrunner all day long?
Oh, it was outstanding. So his Rubik play is phenomenal. Like, he wasn't, you know, unfortunately for him, though he may hate to hear this, his role was never going to be mid because he fundamentally didn't have the skill to do it because he didn't play enough at it. He's always been best from the neck up and supporting. When you're a very smart, intuitive player, you're going to be a support player. And a lot of people they fall in love with the notion that you have to, like, you know, get kills and get gold, but you don't. You make more of an impact being a support player, and Cinderin has now finally reached a place where his ego no longer is control of his destiny. He is. And now that he has found a place, he's doing incredibly well. I wouldn't put him as a top support in the world, but with his drafting ability, with his game sense, he's definitely going to help this team. And Black is pretty much all I got to say right now.
Yeah, yeah. I think he's the best carry in the West.
Definitely up there. I'd actually agree with you.
So let's just say it. All right, so the next one up is EG. I know you're a pretty big EG fan. I think EG is going to be kind of the biggest team with upside in this tournament.
Yeah.
I think they can be very mediocre, or they can just come out of left field and be just damn good. The one interesting part is now that Melk is out, he's going to be more of a coach role. That's going to be definitely interesting, and Bamboo is going to be taking over his spot.
Yeah.
And then, like you said earlier, they have Fear. I think the only person that can give Black a run for his money carry-wise is Fear. But also, I think Fear's a better all-around, well-rounded player. We saw when he turned Fistful of Tangos, he was able to crush middles, and that usually is in his role.
Yeah.
I think he's just a top-notch player. The whole thing with Bamboo out or Bamboo in and Melk out is going to be the coin flip. I know you know Melk a little bit. What's your opinion on that? Was that a good move for EG?
Well, it's again, it goes down to ego. It's just there's a lot of issues. There's a lot of ego. Personally, I think this is one of the weakest EG rosters. Because if you look at it from an objective perspective, who got the better end of the trade, EG or Liquid? Or at the time, Complexity.
Right.
Complexity. To trade Sam, or for those who don't know, Boba, for Jo because of the issues and the arguments and the ego and the fighting that was going on in Complexity's quarters after the International. So EG downgraded a player, and I know Jo, and I like Jo personally, but we're talking about skill here. They downgraded. So Fear for a while went middle. After TI2, Fear played middle and was dominating everybody for the longest time. And it was so quiet because we're NA and nobody gives a fuck. But he was shitting all over everybody. And then he goes back to carry. If Fear would just be able to focus on one position, like I said this to you the other day, if he could find a way to multiply himself, if he can turn asexual and multiply himself and have 5 Fears, they'd be one of the best teams in the world. And it's not really that I'm a Fear fanboy. It's just when you look at him, you look at the game, when he can beat Scandal, S4, and Dendy in a day, like he had previously middle, I mean, come on now. We can't. I'm results driven and I'm performance based. Like, you can't hate on that. Unfortunately, though, to be honest, I hate the move I hate dropping Malk for Bambo, and it's nothing personal against Bambo, but I mean he's good and all, but he's too much like Vegas. He's too much throw. Like he's all-star or bust. Like there's no consistency. It's straight up balls to the wall, and I feel like I don't know. It's almost like if you're a basketball team like the Knicks, right? When you rely on the 3-point shot, and yet you get into the playoffs and you get into a pressure-packed environment, those plays that you make that are overly aggressive, the high-risk, high-reward thing, they normally aren't going to always work out to your favor. And when you don't have solid mental state, like he doesn't have transitional periods in games, so he can't like fall back and farm and chill. No, he's always on attack. I don't know if that's a good lineup or like a good fit for them, but I can tell you that I really have liked the way that B-Diz has been playing. I still feel like their mid is suspect. I mean, I like Jo, but I mean, it is what it is. Fear playing the 4 is really good because if you want to have the most impact in the game anyway, you got to play the 4. And Demon is really fucking good. He just, too many Demon throws. Like he again is like Vegas. You can't have too many of these aggressive players. If you want to have one guy that is super ball, like you can only have one Havos. You can't have 2 Havoses. And I feel like, it's a recipe for disaster. I hope I'm wrong, but I for one don't like the fact that Malk is no longer there because I also put a premium on experience.
Yeah, I think
who had the most experience.
He was one of the best minds in Dota. Just thinking, strategy, experience, just all around. One of the best people. And I guess maybe they'll get that experience through his coaching, but there's still a big difference between coaching and actually being in the game and having that presence.
The coaching was bullshit, by the way, because he's on the panel now.
Right.
Which also ruined any shot I had of being on the panel. But yeah, like he is.
Sounds like you're sad.
He is. Oh my god, I'm super butthurt. No, but he deserves it, and I like Malk, and he's. I said this after TI2. He is by far the most intellectual gamer I think I've ever met. Like he is a really smart human being, and he's very articulate. His vernacular is very good. Like But yeah, so that whole coaching shit was bullshit. He's not coaching them.
I
EG
bet
just
he's
liked
coaching.
him,
He's
but
probably
the
coaching through the
players.
qualifiers, working on picks and bans and all that kind
Yeah,
of
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. I mean, of course, but I think a lot of that's to save face.
Right.
I mean, if we're gonna be honest.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. All right, so let's keep plowing through this. Empire, who obviously was a very, very top tier team about 6 months ago. Then they had some shakeups. Now they have this new roster. I have them finishing second in the qualifier slot. I think I'm still up in the air because I think that they are a really good team, but I don't know if the experience and the familiarity has been there long enough. I still took them as my second because I just think Light of Heaven. I mean, that Light of Heaven's there, and I think he's such a strong, good player that it's hard to kind of forget about him and move on. But then, there's more pressure on Scandal and Twister and all those guys to kind of step their game up in a way. So I'm sticking with Empire as my second place. I wanted to put them first for a while, but then my fanboyness of QPad screwed that up a little bit. So I'm keeping them as my second slot. What's your opinion on Empire?
Well, Light of Heaven is one of my favorite players in the world, and for the longest time he was until I was just so impressed by Burning. But I love Light of Heaven, and I got to meet him, and he's awesome. He's fantastic. His English sucks, but it's okay. He's going to work on it. I don't think this makes them a top team.
No?
I think Scandal, because, again, you lose Goblak. Like
that was huge, obviously.
The one thing I hope people learn from me throughout the Dota 101 series or shows like this is we got to stop creating these false superstars. Like, no offense to Black, as good as he is, you are nothing without your supporting players, your supporting cast. And it's like the whole like quarterback, point guard shit. I'm tired of people like not looking at things that they should. Like, okay, so who's responsible for a quarterback's success? Your offensive line. You know who else is really, really, really important? Your running back. And people don't realize that. And I'm not talking about runs. I'm talking about protection. And people overlook these things. Mm-hmm. As much as I love Scandal, Scandal for a while was, in my opinion, the best mid in the West. But when you lose Goblak, that's the heart and soul of your team. Whether or not people want to see it or admit it, it was. I don't think they're as strong replacing him with Mitch and Twista. You know, Mitch is former Fnatic and Twista's former Mouse, and he was in that whole big scandal when Sing Sing was on Mouse, mm-hmm. and, you know, they dropped their captain and shit and, you know, all that bull crap. Twista's been out of the game for a while, and you think he's going to replace one of the best supports in the world? Like, I mean, come on now, let's be real. Mm-hmm. And now the addition of Light of Heaven fixes the adjustments so Scandal had to make an adjustment for Vigos because Vigos can't play the offlane because he's too fucking aggressive. So when Scandal had to make that transition, it's hard when you have an aggressive offlaner that gets himself killed a lot or sometimes does really well. So when your offlaner's that aggressive and, you know, he's trading kills and he's getting kills and he's getting farm, and then the mid game he can help you, it's really, 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 really good, right? But the thing is, what happens inversely when he's getting his ass beat? Well, that puts so much pressure now on your mid, and it puts too much pressure on your carry. And Below Your Brain's really good, but the problem with Below Your Brain is, like, he's also an aggressive carry. He's also an aggressive player. So when you have too much, I mean, again, it goes back to what I was saying earlier. When you're too fucking aggressive, that shit doesn't always work when you're nervous, when you're put in pressure-packed situations. Mm-hmm. Because your margin for error is much smaller. That's why the Chinese way of playing Dota works, because they're very methodical, they're very careful, they're very meticulous with the shit that they do, so that even if they're nervous, they can always rely back on fundamental gameplay. Whereas it's not like being overly aggressive and tower diving and knowing when to like tier 3 push at 25 minutes. That's not fundamental gameplay. That is superstar status gameplay. But it's also very precise. And if you fuck up, it fucks you up. So I feel like Light of Heaven fulfills the role that allows Scandal to now go back to do what he was doing, but you're missing a key element, and it goes back to what I always say, which is supports are really the backbone of any lineup. Mm-hmm. Regardless of the fact that Dendi gets all the fucking credit, Puppy has always been the backbone of Na'Vi, and now Kuroki is slowly becoming the more integral part of Na'Vi because of their ability to have such an impact on the game at all times, as opposed to specific areas. And I don't feel like Mitch and Twista like I feel like the best players on your team. Yeah. I feel like your support players should be some of the best, like the best players on your team, and when they're the weak link on your team, I don't know. I don't know. I hope they do well because I love Scandal. Love Scandal. I'm just very worried for Scandal.
All right, we'll have to wait and see. Next up is kind of another team we haven't seen too much of them. I think they're kind of in the same boat as EG. It could be a team that kind of flounders and doesn't do much, or they can kind of be a team that comes out of nowhere, and that's Absolute Legends. This is with their lineup. I guess their more recent lineup that they've had for the past probably 6 months or so, right? You're pretty familiar with Absolute Legends as well. The lineup: Mania, Miguel, Rise, Unicorn, Miracle.
Yeah.
How do you think they fare in this tournament, since you kind of know them more than I do?
I love them personally. Great guys. Awesome. So gracious, so nice. They're also part of the Flipside Tactics coaching network, along with other professional players. But I love them. Unfortunately, I don't think this is the strongest AO roster. I felt the strongest was when Sony, Freezer, Come With Me, Mania, that lineup. Mm-hmm. As much as I love my guys, Miguel is sick. Rise was one of the up-and-coming support players, like pre-TI2. Good player. Unicorn, nasty. He's really young, but he's so nasty. They're very inconsistent, and I don't know what it is with them. Unfortunately, I'm no longer like part of AL, so I'm not as hands-on with them, and I speak to their manager Samo a lot. Less now about the team and more about other stuff, but they're just very inconsistent. And the truth is, I don't know what it is. I think they're really good guys. I think they are what's right with professional gaming and professional talent. Like, they work hard. Mm-hmm. I don't think I've been around a team that works harder. Maybe Complexity back in the day when Chappie was their manager. They do everything the right way. They're good guys. They care about their fans. They care about their organization. They're patient. They're nice. They're super people. But if we're talking about Dota, they're fucking too inconsistent. And again, I think consistency is very important, as you can see by the way the Chinese are dominating. Yep. And I just think too many people, like especially Unicorn, he has like top 3 talent, but sometimes the boy shits the fucking bed. Mm-hmm. So I don't know.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. And then are they playing the qualifier while they're in Australia, right? Or no, they're not. No.
They're
are they all centralized
from Denmark.
Location, or are they all spread out?
Yeah. No, one of them's Swedish, Miracle. All of them are from Denmark.
Okay.
The rest of them, they're really good together. That's what's really good. Teamwork. Like, if we're going on teamwork, I think they have one of the strongest core team play of anyone in here. Like, anyone in the Western qualifiers, for sure.
Right.
They have the most synergy.
Okay, interesting.
But I feel like Evil Geniuses is the most individual talent. Mouse Sports and Empire, obviously. QPad, of course. So that's where I think it's talent-wise, I don't know.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
But,
Okay.
All
right, so next up is going to be IC Cup, kind of the controversial team. We haven't seen too much of IC Cup's team. We've seen them a couple times in LANs, a couple online qualifiers here and there, but I wouldn't say we've seen them as much as someone like EG or Mouse Sports or even Roxas, who we've been seeing quite a bit lately. The IC Cup team for the tournament is Jackal, We Just Zik, Always Want to Fly, Mag, and Resolution. Those are the 5 players in this, and I'll be honest, I'm not too familiar with IC Cup and their play. I try to watch as much Dota as I possibly can, but I just don't see them as much as some of these other teams. Have you seen many of their games?
I've seen some of them, but I don't even are they even in the top 30? Can somebody verify this shit? I don't even think they're in the top 30. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm almost certain they're not, because they haven't really done much. I mean, they're decent players. Like Mag is decent. Jackal, like you mentioned, Always Want to Fly is okay. Resolution's okay, but I don't think they're like top talent. They're also from the Ukraine, I believe. Some of them, and some of them. I don't know where Jackal and Just Zik or some shit. I don't know. I don't know where they're from, but I think this is by far the weakest roster in the entire tournament. That includes even the Chinese teams. Like Team Mineski, every time I see them play from the Eastern qualifiers, they get stomped.
Yeah, they had our time yesterday.
And I think they can beat the smack, like they could beat the snot out of IC Cup. So, yeah, I think this is by far the weakest team in the Western qualifiers, to be completely honest.
Okay. Yeah, I think too they also the team that they could bring out some really weird strategies and stuff like that, and maybe catch people off guard. But that kind of stuff can only take you so far. I think solid stability, hard time speaking, is the way to go for a lot of this stuff. Maybe you can take a couple games here and there with some really weird picks, but you need the stable lineup and stable picks and roster and strategy and things like that to kind of take you all the way. If anything, they might give us some good, exciting games. We'll have to see. So the next team from the Western qualifiers, Roxas, who made a really strong showing at the first EMS Cup. They ended up getting second place in that, and that was about a month ago now at this point. That was kind of their major breakout tournament. Before that, we saw them here and there. We didn't see them a ton. That was kind of the tournament that a lot of people started noticing who they were and what they could do. So their team is, BZ is perfect, Yol, Vansker, Dread, and Solo. So obviously probably the biggest name player on this team is Dread.
Yeah, legend, actually.
Yeah, very, very much so. And I think they're another really good, solid team, but I don't know if they are at the same caliber as someone like EG or QPad and Empire. I'd say those are probably my favorites in a sense. But I think they're solid enough that they can hold their own, put up a really good fight, and we'll have to see what they do. I mean, have you seen too many of their games, and what's your thoughts on
them? They're by far my favorite Russians CIS team, only because they're so fucking aggressive. They have the biggest balls, I think, of any team in the tournament. Like, those guys are disgustingly aggressive, and they're very good. The thing is, like, the overarching thing of this whole discussion, right, is that aggression is very risky, and it oftentimes doesn't work out when you're playing against equal talent. It's good when you're playing against people you can stomp, and that's where sometimes you see the losses. Like, they can't beat teams like Alliance or Navi even Mouse that often. I don't remember. Yeah, no, I think Black just always beats the snot out of them because I think very, like, calculating teams and very methodical teams, even though Navi's really aggressive, actually, they can't beat. But I know for sure AL can't beat them because they put too much pressure on Mania. They just put too much pressure on people and pressure bust pipes, and they steal a lot of games that way, and they steal a lot of early games. I know for sure they have AL's number, and I know they beat DD almost every time they play them. And Dread is, Dread's Dread. They're very aggressive, and if anybody knows the Russian ping system, whenever you watch their game, they just ping all over the fucking map and kill people. It's crazy. I actually really they're one of the most enjoyable teams to watch, though I agree they're not the best. But if you get a chance to watch a Rocks Kiss game, you won't be disappointed. I can tell you that for sure.
I think too that aggression, like you said, aggression breaks pipes. What was the analogy?
Pressure bust pipes.
That's good. I like it. So anybody who's played in a game against somebody that the other team put a lot of pressure on you, it makes you kind of panic. And if you panic, it's a lot harder to perform under that pressure. Especially it's a big game, and then you have this team who's just going balls to the walls trying to get you. You have to really be on your game to kind of deal with it. But I think the thing that beats that is stability. If you have a team that's very stable, solid, knows their picks, knows their game plan ahead of time, and practice that game plan over and over again, they're going to be able to just weather the storm through that sort of aggression mid-game, and then just stabilize and then take the game to the end and win it. But we'll have to see what happens with them. So only two more teams up for the Western qualifiers. We'll move on to Eastern stuff. The next team is the QPad Red Pandas, who, if you're watching the video, you obviously see that is my number one team. And I think I'm still torn on this. I want to take them because I like the team, and I like the guys on the team. I think Sing Sing works really hard. I think Mini is one of the most underrated support players. I think he's actually really good. And then I'm also a big fan of Select because Select is from StarCraft, obviously. So Um, I think, if anything, the thing that QPAD has going for them right now is that they've been in the QPAD offices training for a couple weeks. Before that, most of them were in the good studio living together and playing together. They don't stream as much as they used to. I mean, Sing used to stream a lot. Now we don't see them streaming that much. So obviously they're trying to hide some stuff up their sleeve. I think if any team pulls out some really weird random heroes, I think they're the team that's going to do it. I think they're going to be a really good force to reckon with. What do you think about the QPAD Red Pandas?
Oh man, I don't know. I have a love-hate thing with them. So I really like the good studio. I think they're very good for Dota. So it was interesting that they got their team. I was very happy with the fact that they got a team. So shout out to the good studio. I've loved Waga. As a matter of fact, Waga at one point was like, I guess, even though he wasn't the best player, I had a really, I don't know, I always enjoyed him and I know him, and he was going to do some stuff for Dota 101. Let's not get into that though. It didn't work out, so that's where the love-hate thing comes from. We got played hard. However, what I will say is they have a very EG, I think, has the EG and Empire are fighting tooth and nail for the best individual talent, but QPAD is right there. Like, EGM is outstanding, and a lot of people don't fucking know that. Like, they don't get it. They don't appreciate support play, but EGM is outstanding. Switching Waga to his mid row, which he used to do all the time, was, I think, the best thing, because Sing Sing, I don't feel like Sing Sing is a strong mid player. A lot of people do, but he's really not. He's a better farmer. Like, he farms like the best of them. And though he's aggressive,
he's smart though.
Yeah, he's very smart. I just feel like Waga's a better mid, but Waga's definitely a more stable mid player. He won't lose mid as often. He may not win mid as often. That's the kickback. So you're trading wins for losses. But I think at this point, as long as your mid is effective in the mid game, which Waga normally is, I would prefer that trade than the possibility of being raped. Well, that's probably not the word I should be using, excuse me. But, yeah, so I like this team, and I think Select is only going to get better. Like, people don't realize how hard the transition is into Dota, well, for professionals. Because what's expected from him is, like, he's being compared with, like, Funnick, Light of Heaven. I mean, come on now. Let's be serious. You know, less than 2 years ago, this guy was StarCraft. Like, he was StarCraft pro, and he's already on the professional scene and is really fucking good. I think he's only going to improve, and I think this time next year he will be one of the top offlaners, not because of his fundamental ability, but because of the fact that he's gaining so much experience while playing with players that are that experienced. And I think ultimately this team is going to be really fucking good. I don't think they're going to be invited to TI3. I don't think they'll come out. But I think if this roster stays together, I can guarantee you that next year they'll be in the top 4. That's how good the individual talent is. Once they gel, I think the sky's the limit for them. And I'm really jealous of QPAD for picking players like this up. It's a shame that these players were not on rosters and were available to be picked up like this. But it's great that they did, and they were, because holy fuck, is this going to be a team to fear the more time goes on. Although I don't think the time is now for them.
I think they're one of the most marketable teams too, as well.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Which arguably is more important than skill in tournament results. The ability to be popular and get stuff. I know Sing Sing's easily one of the most popular players in Dota, just for his personality and streaming and that kind of stuff. I think that they're very easily marketable. We've seen them in doing like boot camp videos lately on interviews. They're definitely getting their name out there. There's more interviews of these guys available than probably any other team in the Western scene, and that's really good. I know they were talking about making QPAD mouse pads with each individual player is going to try to design it. Obviously shirts and all that kind of stuff. Like, there's just going to be a whole bunch of stuff around this team, I think, that just builds the brand and makes it strong and allows people to really root for them. We'll have to see what they do. They pull out. I like them. If anything, I want to cheer for them to see. I like to see them at the International, one way or another. It'd be cool to have them.
I think it'll be good for the International. Yes,
big time.
And it'll be good for the good studio.
Yes.
But I caution you though. There's a difference between being popular for the wrong reasons and the right reasons. I'm gonna leave it at that. Remember, EG just dropped one of their most notable
Yeah,
players
Adria
because he
yesterday.
did shit the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's if we're being very transparent, the first team that Flipside Tactics owns, I can give two fucks about whether you're popular or not. It's whether or not you do things the right way.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna leave it at that. But I'm gonna tell you that I'm very conscious of the fact that you can get popular for doing things the right way and the wrong way. And I'm not going to get into the specifics of what I mean by that, but I know you are astute enough to understand.
Mm-hmm.
So, though I think they're the most marketable, one has to wonder because of the right way or the wrong way. Like, there are a bunch of players on that team, like EGM in particular, and Select, that do things the right way. There are others that not so much.
Mm-hmm.
So, we do have to caution that, at least.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see how it goes. And then the last team to wrap it up, another team that people kind of were controversial about if they should be invited to this slot or not. I think they deserved it, and we'll see what they bring to the table. But that's DD. Their roster consists of Golback, Silent, Funzy, Saska, and fucking Mad, or I guess Ucking Mad, however you're supposed to pronounce it. I think they're a decent team. I wouldn't consider them a top team. Golback, I think, is one of the best players in Dota, especially in the Westers. I think he's a really, really strong, good player. But outside of that, I see them kind of a team that finishes maybe 4th or 5th and just kind of in the middle. They put up good games.
Yep.
I don't see them taken first. I also don't see them taken last. Are you kind of feeling the same way?
Yo, for sure. They're really good. I mean, bro, it's MTW. Storyline, though, I cannot wait. I hope Mouse and DD play against each other.
Mm-hmm.
MTW versus MTW. That's what I'm going to coin it.
Yep.
You get the Frenchies against Cinderin, which was basically what happened to TI2, for those of you that don't know why they broke up. So, I don't know. Very strong team, very good players. Shakska, really good. Mad, I'm not going to say his first because that's stupid, unprofessional. I don't understand why that name is the way that it is, but whatever.
Uh-huh.
Very good 4. Funzy, obviously. I had talked to you about God Black earlier and Silent. You know how it is. I think they're very good. To be honest, though, I think God Black and Silent are already the best players on that team, and that basically, you know how I feel about that with that.
Mm-hmm.
So
you have to have the supporting cast around you.
Yeah. And, yeah. So I don't think they're going to go anywhere, like you said. But they are very good players. They just have a very difficult draw. Mm-hmm. I mean, the other teams there are just better.
Yeah. All right. So let's wrap it up. First, second place. I already kind of said mine. First, I'm going to be taking the QPAD Red Pandas, mostly because I like the team. I think Minnie's a really good support player. I think Select, like you said, is progressing very quickly, and he's a good, solid player. And then, obviously, Sing Sing and Waga both are very top-tier, good, solid players. I think that them living together for such a long period of time has really helped. Out of all these teams on here, they've been playing together. I mean, they've been living together the longest. You know, having 5 dudes in a house playing Dota, but not only playing Dota, but sleeping and eating together. You know, you play Dota for 6 hours, you go to grab dinner, you talk about the games while you're eating dinner, you go to bed, you wake up, right back to business. That's a really big thing, and a lot of these Chinese teams kind of do that already, and with the gaming houses and stuff like that. And for the Western world, this is really big for them. If that boot camp has been paying off for them, I think it has, and we're going to see the games. And if anything, they're going to have some cool strategies, some exciting games. They're fun players, good personalities, all that kind of stuff all around. So I'm taking them as my first team winning first. The second team coming out of that is going to be Empire, in my opinion, just because the Light of Heaven factor, I think, can do it. Scandal, we talked about, good solid player. Hopefully, if they can, hang in there, I think that they will be able to pull it off. The only other teams I could, consider maybe taking a 1 or 2 slot would be, I'd say, Roxas would be my third team. I think they're going to come out pretty strong. Mouse Sports maybe, and then that'd be the only other teams I think would be in that kind of top 2 slot. So I'm sticking with QPAD, Empire. What are your 2 guys, Frost?
Well, unfortunately, I'm going to have to be blatantly honest about this. I think individual skill offline, or excuse me, online, beats team play offline. So I think EG or Empire are pretty much going to come out of this, one or two. If I had to pick the one, I think EG is going to come out first.
EG. Okay.
Even though I don't think their teamwork is the strongest, I just think the individual skill on that roster is good enough to win it. So if I had to put my money anywhere, it's going to be EG. Though Empire's really tugging at me. Empire will probably be 2, and I think QPAD will be 3. But if we're going by, if this was a LAN event or who I think is actually the best team currently, it's Mouse Sports. Though to be completely honest, when you're playing offline on on an online tournament and a LAN, the rules change, right? The game changes, and because everyone's comfortable at their homes, I don't think the experience is gonna fucking matter. And I think EG is probably gonna be 1, and 2 is probably gonna be Empire. Those two are very close, and then I think QPAD will be 3rd. But I can't see anything else shaping out to be I don't think there's surprise picks here.
Okay.
I think one of those two teams will be out of it.
Cool. All right, so I guess we're both taking Empire to be in there. So
yep.
Hopefully we're both right, or else we'll both be wrong. And then all right, let's move on to the Eastern Qualifier group bracket. I think we'll have a little bit less to say about this. I don't know about you, but for me personally, I like to watch as much of the Eastern games as I possibly can, but I feel that there's like a disconnect to where for the Western teams, you get a little bit more of interviews, you got more personalities, you got the streams. Yep. There's more to the player, and you become more attached, and you see more of their gameplay. Where the Eastern teams, you know the team names, you've seen them games here and there, but you don't know the individual personnel. Obviously, on teams like LGD and VC, they have big name players, but then when you get into kind of First Departure, Rising Stars, Minsky, those kind of teams, there's less of that big superstar type name. And, we'll have to see what happens with that. So this will be a little bit quicker, but we'll do kind of the same format. I think first, fittingly, LGD, the team that totally screwed everything up. There's no doubt about it that they are probably the strongest team in this whole thing. It was actually kind of funny before this. I was going to take Tongfu as my team to come out of the Eastern qualifiers. And then when LGD got bumped into the qualifiers and Tongfu got promoted into the invites. So I've kind of just flip-flopped on that. Though I guess we'll get to it when we get to it, but I have a feeling about VC. But we'll stick with LGD for now. Obviously, LGD performed probably the strongest last year at the International 2. They went
I agree.
That streak where they just did not lose. They stomped everybody. They played so good. And then just towards the end, they kind of faltered, but they were dominant for the first few days. And that's a big deal to look that dominant on the world stage where there's, all eyes are on you, play against the best in the world. Can they do that again? I don't know. But I think in these qualifier bracket, they are at least the top 2 strongest team out there. So their roster now is Zhao 8, DDC, Yao, Sylar, DD. So we talked briefly about Long DD being out. Long DD went out. DD came back. And Sylar's a superstar type player. They're going to be really, really good. Do you have them taken first in this?
Yeah, that without
Easy?
question.
Yeah?
Like, not even... Yeah.
Right.
Second, I agree with you. It's going to be Vici. There's just no other way. They're that good. Vici is... Unfortunately, we don't get to see them as much as we would like because of the time issues. Hopefully, this show may be able to bridge that gap, though I don't think we will focus on Chinese Dota. Hopefully, we can have some sort of spin-off for, like, the Eastern stuff.
Yes.
But Chinese Dota is actually really fun. Well, for me it is. It's not as action-packed as the Western scene, but you know how I play. I'm very safe, methodical. I play like a like a Chinese Puerto Rican, really.
Yeah.
I don't like to take, risks because I just don't understand why you need to when you already have a lead, right? Don't blow the lead. That's what I always say.
Yep.
So, yeah, like really good teams in here. Rising Stars is pretty decent. But, yeah, for sure. It's going to be LGD Gaming and Vichy.
All right.
Then we can just move on.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just skip over everybody else. I guess.
We can if you want.
No, we'll just power through it. Myth Trust. Okay. I think they're a solid team. They're a team that's been around for a while. I don't think they're going to take first or second, but I think they're pretty good. But VC's the team I'd like to talk a little bit more about. VC obviously last year was there. They were kind of known as the quote unquote pub stomp solo people that got mashed together to make a team.
Yep.
They performed mediocre last year. They were there, but they didn't obviously do too much. Then you got ZSMJ joining the team. He's playing Dota 1 for them, and then all of a sudden recently he gets promoted from that team to the first team for Dota 2. I think that he's obviously a legend, and
very good carry, very very good.
And
I've actually casted a game with Lumi, where he was on there. And long story short, ZSMJ still has a lot of work to do. Like, he wasn't microing his PL illusions correctly, so like he wasn't split pushing and then taking the rest of his illusions into the jungle. And then I saw him on an anti-mage game, and he wasn't split pushing as much as he should have, farming the jungle a lot. Like, these are very like minute details that it seems like I'm being nitpicky and being an asshole.
But at that top level.
I'm comparing him to Burning and Sylar, and let me tell you something. They maximize farm. They get more. I mean, 25K in 25 minutes. Guys, if you guys don't remember, TI2 Burning, you only do that by maximizing your farm. He farmed more than were allowed. So every 10 minutes you get 82 creep. He was farming at a higher rate because he was using the jungle in between that 15-second period, that small and that hard camp, or the medium and the hard camp on the dire side. Like, when you're being compared against those guys, that's the shit you have to do. Still a very good player, though.
Yeah.
And they're definitely going to make it to the international, because I feel like those are by far and away the top two teams. So, yeah.
Yeah, very much so. So, since we both agree that those are the top two, who'd you take as your number one and your number two?
You really have to ask?
Is it LGD's your number one?
Yes. LGD's not going to lose a game.
Oh, all right.
And VC's only going to lose to LGD.
All right, so I flipped it around. I took VC as my number one. LGD is my number two.
Well, you have some balls on you.
Yeah. I guess the one reason is with Long DD leaving and DD coming back. I think that might affect them a little bit, because if you practice with one dude a whole bunch and then you change it up, that's a pretty decent shakeup. I think I think they want it because they should be better, and then the results. So I feel like if they're a team, they feel like they deserve to get in there. And actually, there was a game this morning, LGD versus VC, and VC won 2-0. Obviously, both teams didn't bring out their A game.
Yeah, for sure. No, bro, Vichi's good, man.
They look top notch, and ZSMJ was playing Storm Spirit one game and did some sick. He dodged an RP, which was pretty awesome. I think they're gonna do it. That's just a feeling, but I wouldn't be surprised at all to see LGD taken first.
Yeah, I think Rising Stars is very close to Vici, because Super, who is he used to be on DK, he used to be the mid for DK. But no, I think they're gonna come out. Rising Stars, though, really good, man. I'm telling you, those guys are boss. Like, I would have taken both of those teams over Tong Fu if Tong Fu was in here in replacement. So? Tong Fu's too inconsistent for a Chinese. Yeah, for sure. I would have definitely taken both of them, in my opinion, at least. Just because I really have a lot of respect for Super. I felt like he was really good, and him and Burning carried that roster. RLTK, I think, is a very good off lane, but he has too much Vigos in him. He's the Chinese Vigos, or maybe Vigos is either way. But he's too aggressive. Some games he rapes and just does so well. Other games he just flops. He puts you so far behind. But yeah, I think Super's really strong, and I think outside of LGD, they have the best mid player. But I don't think that's gonna matter. I think Vici just still has the better supports, and they have ZSMJ. And Air and like XTD and stuff, or I mean, Zhao 2G or some bullshit. They're not. Yeah, the two players aren't comparable. So, and I think that's going to ultimately make the difference.
Okay. And I guess the other ones, the last four here. Since we talk about Rising Stars, you got Neolution Esports, First Departure, Rattlesnake, and Team Minsky. I think Minsky is a decent team, but I wouldn't consider
they're
them.
from the Philippines, I think, too. Gods will know more about it than I do. They have decent players. They're okay. They're really good for, they have like Bimbo and a guy named Gio that I have seen and thought he was really good. And there's a guy named Joven their carry player.
Yeah,
that
Jehovah.
isn't really known for carry players because he like plays Puck and Invoker, so it's like really weird. Like that team is fucking weird, bro. Weird. Like you know what I mean? Like their carries play like mid hero. It's strange.
Yeah,
but
weird sometimes lets you
they're
take
good,
some
yeah.
games. You never know.
I know. Yep.
But I don't think being weird is going to let you take down LGD, unfortunately.
Yes, I know. Yeah. That's the thing.
I think it's actually pronounced Mineski, so sorry if anybody's upset.
Sorry.
And then the other ones, Rattlesnake, they're kind of the newer team that's been playing decently well lately, but at the same thing, I don't think they have the experience or the top tier players to really take this whole thing out. First Departure, I don't really ever remember seeing First Departure too much. Have you ever seen much of them?
No. I actually am not gonna bullshit.
Yeah, yeah. Nope. So their team.
I've seen a lot more Myth Trust than I did them, but
yes,
I don't know.
Yeah, and I think Myth Trust is the Taiwanese team. So
yeah. TNK, their captain, is like pretty decent. I like his drafts. Not gonna talk too much about the other players because I think I only know one SD, and he's like a support for them. But I'm not as familiar with the players. I've seen some of the games. And I like the drafting that comes out of TNK, but outside of that, there's nothing that I remember watching that was like, wow, these guys are like awesome. It was more like, whoa, that's a pretty sick draft.
Yeah.
So that's like what I remember. So yeah, First Departure, not gonna lie,
Okay.
No.
Yeah, so I think that covers the Eastern qualifiers. They should be more exciting. The whole LGD situation, I think, screwed this whole tournament up. I think it would have been a lot closer and a lot more competitive. Now with LGD dropping down in there, I could see LGD, like you said, not losing a game, just taking everybody out, and then it turned into VC versus someone else, either Rising Stars or Rattlesnake. That'll be it. So then the other one will be with the wild card, which is going to be the second place from each of these. In our case, we both pretty similar picks, I'd say.
Yeah.
I'd say, though, VC or LGD will be the final for the East, and whoever loses that will win the wild card game.
Yes.
Oh,
no. If Vici goes... no. I think if Empire, EG, Mouse Sports, or Q Pandas can beat Vici.
You think so?
Right now. Yeah, I think so.
Interesting.
Just because they're Chinese, that doesn't mean
they're
shit,
stronger.
really.
All right. Well, then we'll have to see on that.
Yeah.
I guess it all depends what they pull out.
Because I'll give you an example. ZSMJ isn't better than the carries on Empire, Q Pandas, or Mouse Sports right now. Right now.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah, we still got 2 weeks.
Because I've been watching a lot of his games. Right now, they're not better than, or he's not better than them. And I think ultimately that's what it comes down to, right? It's like, on online tournaments, who has the most individual talent? And I think they do. I think the West actually, in this case, has more individual talent than Vici right now. As for LGD against any of those teams, it's not even close. LGD's going to smash them.
Yep.
So.
All right, cool. So that wraps up the qualifier stuff.
Now to the fun shit.
The fun stuff, yeah. So we'll kind of power through this. Obviously, a lot can change on this. You never know. Some of these were fun though. Just this is with the most pick hero, most banned hero, all that kind of stuff. Mine is kind of boring because I kind of put the same thing for both the West and the East. Mostly because drafts lately seem to be pretty similar. There's not a giant discrepancy to what heroes are being played and heroes being picked. So the first one, most picked hero for the Western qualifiers. Who do you have? I
actually have. It was tough. It's either Shadow Demon, which I would agree with you, or Lifestealer, because Nakes is the most picked hero right now in the West. But Shadow Demon is the best support, and he can't be banned out because of all the other gay heroes.
Yep.
So I'm gonna pick Lifestealer, though I was definitely thinking Shadow Demon.
Yeah.
I just feel like there are lineups where Shadow Demon cannot be picked, and you can still have great supports. Yet Lifestealer is going to be picked, period. So that was the only thing.
Okay. So that was pretty similar to my thought process. I had Lifestealer originally, and then I changed it to Shadow Demon. The only thing was because Lifestealer gets banned, I think, a lot more. Actually, I don't think. I pretty much know he gets banned a lot more than Shadow Demon does. So.
Wow, you're going to be so mad about all of this. But keep going about our things. It's going to be hilarious.
They're similar?
Yep.
But I think Lifestealer, he can warrant a first or second ban sometimes. And I think Shadow Demon will never be a first or second ban. He'll always be in the pool. So, just by that alone, he's going to be able to get picked more.
There's only like 2 people I can think of, Black and Havos that people would ban Lifestealer for. To be honest, that's about it.
Yeah, but I think even then though, that's more than Shadow Demon. Like, what team do you go into? You need to ban
No, that's
Shadow
true.
Demon first. Like,
You're right. You're right.
Let him have Bat Rider. It's not a big
You're right.
deal. Let him have Nyx. We're gonna get rid of Shadow Demon. So I think he'll be.
I actually agree with you.
It'll be interesting. All right, so the next one up, most banned hero.
I put Bat Rider.
I put Bat Rider as well.
It was either Bat Rider or Nyx, but Bat Rider for sure because everyone hates Napalm.
Yeah, I think Bat Rider, he just takes over games. He wins the lane, and then he kills everybody. Nyx is a very strong, good hero, yes, but not in the sense where Bat Rider literally can just solo by himself, just dominate the lane, and then all of a sudden go just pick up kills anywhere on the map whenever he feels like it. Yeah. Especially against that Blink Dagger. Blink in, lasso, drag him into his team. That's just pretty much a guaranteed kill every time.
He's the best off-lane hero, period. He can jungle faster than anybody, and he can off-lane better than anybody. Yeah, you have to get rid of the hero. He's just that fucking good.
Yeah, very, very good. All right, so then next up, hero with the most First Bloods. Who'd you take for this?
You were crazy for picking Magnus, by the way.
Really?
I picked Shadow Demon. Hell yeah, absolutely. Not even close.
See, on my Eastern...
Not even be close to
on Shadow Eastern, Demon. I took Shadow Demon. Most First Blood, Shadow Demon.
Easy. Nope. Should have been.
West, I took Magnus.
You're nuts. Because Shockwave really isn't going to net you a lot of kill steals, but Shadow Demon is going to be integral in pretty much every First Blood in every game at some point.
Yeah.
Him or Rubik, I think, are the top two.
The top two. Yeah, I agree with you. Shadow Demon. That was another one I was wrestling with.
Thinking. Yeah,
he'll be in every kill. But I think Shockwave does so much damage, and
it does though. It's just
wanted to take it.
You know, I don't see it with. I don't know. I mean, no. Your logic is correct. It's just I feel like the more opportunity to get First Bloods would definitely be on Shadow Demon's side.
Will outweigh it. Yeah.
Yep.
And then hero with the most deaths. I took Shadow Demon. What'd you take?
I actually concur. Shadow Demon or Rubik because they're the top two most played supports.
Yep.
Outside of Coddle, if you don't ban him. So
I think that's the one unfortunate thing about this is the most pick hero is probably going to have the most deaths because they're going to be in the most games.
Well, and disruption is safe for, defensive disruptions is my motto. It's going to be safe for teammates, not you. So you're going to die a lot.
Yep.
There's just no other way to put it.
All right, that sounds good. Highest GPM, gold per minute in a single match. I put less than 800. Did you put more?
I agree with you. However, Black is the guy with the most higher than 800 GPM games of any carry in the bracket.
Yes. So maybe he will ruin this prediction?
Feel like he can. And he has shown it. I don't think people are going to let him because at this point, just stop Black. You play mouse sports, stop Black.
Yeah.
That's the name of the game. He's not as good as Burning yet. Burning, if he was here, I'd have put over in a heartbeat. Black is the Western version of Burning, but he's not at that level where he can do this consistently. Mouse Sports will have to dominate the early game. Mouse Sports doesn't have the currently Fata. I don't think they have the mid player to dominate the mid game that hard every game. So that's basically I feel the way that I do.
All right. And then number of heroes never picked or banned. This was kind of tricky for me. I didn't add them up. I just put 16 to 20 because that seemed like a good number.
Yes, that's what I did too. I didn't add them up either. Okay. But I felt 16 to 20 or 21 to 25 was the actual thing. I may be wrong. You may be wrong too.
But yeah. I think I wanted to maybe put more because I feel like
there is more, but I feel like people are going to, like, I'll give you an example. Alchemist will be picked up at least one time. Right? Undying's going to be picked up at least one time.
Yes.
Right? So if we continue to go on and on and on, people are going to be picked at least one time. Spectre's going to maybe be picked one time.
Spectre will be there once. Warlock will be there once.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, so all these guys may be picked up once. Spectre maybe not as, much as, Alchemist, or especially because that's a pocket strategy for Waga's team. The QPAT Pandas, they like Alchemist, right? Like, they like those weird fucking heroes. So I feel like they'll obviously add to that. I don't know.
I could see them
I don't
picking
think we're right, actually. But,
Could you see them picking Kunkka one game?
Oh, yeah. You have Sing Sing carry? Yes. They're going to pick Shadow Demon with it, and then they're going to pick a jungler with it. And it's going to just, that's just the way they do it. That's old school Mouse.
Yeah. So, all right, cool. So 16 to 20. Number of big comebacks. I'm a cynic, so I put 3 or less.
I did as well. You don't, though I think there'll be more comebacks from the West. I can't see people throwing that because this is for $1 million. This is for an opportunity for $1 million or more.
Yeah.
And I can't see people doing dumb shit.
Yeah, play safe. That's all you need to do.
Even though there's a lot of heroes that do dumb shit currently in this qualifier.
And then the last one on this page is the fastest game time. I actually put less than 18 minutes. I could see.
I put more. I can't see that.
No?
Not like people are going to play more safe than they are aggressive because they don't have games to lose here.
Yeah, that's true. I think the only reason why I thought this was maybe there'd be a game to where the early game just went so bad.
Yeah.
The score was like 15-1, where the other team just goes, you know what? Let's just bag this game. Let's get right mentally. Let's come back strong in game 2. Rather than sitting here and slowly bleeding out over the next 25 minutes and then you just pull an early surrender and leave.
That could happen. I just don't feel like that's going
just
to.
Not in these games. All right,
Nope.
We'll have to see on that. I'm glad we disagree on one of these. Then the next page, number of games greater than 60 minutes.
I put 5 or less.
I put 5 or less as well.
Because
I don't see much more
the
than that.
meta is too fast right now.
Yeah, unless we were seeing a bunch of Spectre, Alchemist, heroes like that, maybe. But right now, no, I'd see less than 60 for sure. Earliest Roshan kill time, I put 1 minute or more. I don't think we're
Me
going to
too.
see
I don't think
tricky
nobody's gonna pull that shit.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Especially
Shout out to Alliance though.
for pulling it at least once.
One of the best. You know what's funny was like way back in the day. Like I always said, like, yo, how sick would it be if you could bait Roshan and then just come up behind somebody and kill him? Like that was something that we used to always say could never do. I never thought about doing it the way that they did it, killing the Furion and then sending him right back. That's fucking. They're just.
But they kind of ruined it for everybody because if you ever now see Furion die before the first minute, that's going to be in the back of your mind.
That was just incredible. That by far was one of the most incredible plays I think I'll ever see on Dota. That was just.
That was
exciting. My god, way ahead of their time, man.
Earliest tower kill, I put less than 2 minutes.
I put 2 minutes or more. There's no way that's gonna happen. Even if you abandon the lane, it's still gonna be longer than 2 minutes. Like even if you're 3, because now there really is no 3. Like the 3 is like a 4.5, or 3.5. That's stupid.
I was thinking
Even if you
we see,
abandon the
like, a
lane,
Chen.
it's still gonna take you that long. Yeah, but
See, like, a
even
Chen
if it's still gonna
Lord
take
or
more than
something.
2 minutes to push that tower,
Yeah,
and you'll be killing your carry if you do it too.
true. Right. All right, we'll have to see. Rapiers purchased, I put 2 or less.
I put 2 or less as well, and that's contingent on whether or not Gyro is picked in those.
There you go.
G motherfucking G.
Yeah, I was pretty good with the rapier, so I've heard.
Yep.
Refreshers purchased, I put 3 or less as well. It's an item we normally don't see that often.
I put 4 or more
Okay.
because I expect to see Warlocks. I expect to see Magnuses. I put 4 or more, just because. Yeah.
Interesting. I will have to see on that. The last 2, largest single critical hit. This was another one. I didn't really add up or go back and look at past games. I kind of just went with what felt good, and 700 to 800 is what I put. What about you?
But 601 to 700. I feel like Juggernaut will be picked sometimes. I don't, because PA's not going to be picked because other heroes like that aren't going to be picked. I think
Skeleton King? No.
Yeah. Nah, I mean, unless you're Na'Vi, they've done it, but I just can't see crits being that hard. Like Clinks on Funnick
Maybe
would probably be the only one, but he's not even in the qualifier. So like, you know what I mean? Like there's not a lot of heroes that are contingent upon critical damage because pro players don't like the randomness.
Yeah.
So I just can't see here, like, or even Voids getting picked. I don't know. I mean, CK would be the closest hero, I think, but I think games would end much sooner. I don't think he'll be itemed out as CK. Then you'll definitely see much higher crits, but I can be wrong. So I'm going on the low end because I think games are going to end earlier.
All right, so that actually is a good transition to the last one. Most Roshan kills in a game. What you put?
3 or less
Yes.
for the same reason that I just mentioned.
Yeah, I did the exact same thing. I kind of wanted to put 4 or more, but then when you look at it, there's going to be at least 40 minutes. I think games are going to end in the 40 to 45 minute marks.
Yep.
We're not really going to see Ursa, and we're not really going to see Lycan. We might see a laning Lycan, but those are kind of the heroes that you think, okay, they're going to take an early Roche before the 10 minute mark, before the 20 minute mark. Without them being picked, I don't see Roche being killed probably before 15 minutes. or even 10 minutes. Lone Druid obviously can do it, but I don't think people are going to build Vlads on him super early to go kill Roche. He's going to need support, and then it makes it a little bit more risky for other teams noticing things like that. So 3 or less, sticking with that. Then the Eastern ones, I have a feeling.
We should just skip that if you don't mind, and just go straight to the All-Star match, because the Chinese.
You know what? I left the All-Star match blank.
Whoa!
I figured we need to watch the games first before you make an All-Star team, right?
No.
You can't make an All-Star team before the games.
Yes, you can, because we know who's good and who's not.
I want to see someone make some big plays and then throw them on the All-Star roster.
Oh, you're hurting me. This was like my favorite part.
All right, if you want, you can go over it. I will leave mine blank, and then after the qualifiers, I can add it.
Fine, we got this. Now,
the only difference for the East, what I did,
how weird this is
I put Hero with most first bloods, Shadow Demon for the East.
Oh, that's interesting.
And then also I put number of heroes. I think was actually I put 26 to 30 because I figured there were going to be less weird strategies coming out for most heroes picked and banned.
That's very smart.
Highest GPM I put less than 800 because, like you said, no burning. Not gonna have to worry about that.
Although there is Sylar though, but yeah, I don't think he's gonna, because I think games will end too early. They're just too good.
And I put number of games greater than 60 minutes, and also most Roshan kills both over the numbers. So I put 5 or less on the no 5 or less below 60 minutes, and then no, that's silly. I should not. That doesn't make any sense. I'm gonna change that. Roshan kills 3 or less. There we go. Now I'm set. They're all the same. I put Rapier's Purchase, though, 3 or more for some reason. I don't remember why. Maybe I was expecting...
it's probably because longer games. And
maybe we'll see some crazy stuff.
We'll see.
I'll leave that one the way it is because I must have done it for a reason. All right. All-Star team, what do you want to talk about? I will do mine after the games.
I think this is really weird because of the way they set it up. I think they should have probably put East or West. But if I wanted to see the best of the best, my first would be Burning. Okay. Obviously, he's playing the 1. Dendi would be his middle because of his aggression. Dendi's a very aggressive mid hero, and he is going to afford Burning the space to carry.
Okay.
Right? The 3, Boba. I mean, he's another aggressive offlaner that is fucking nasty. For the 4, I put Ake. Now, people are going to be like, why? Guess what? Ake makes Loda look like a top carry because he stacks more camps. Stacks upon stacks upon stacks.
Okay.
You give that to Burning. If Burning, like I've always said this, if Burning got the support play to some of these other, if Burning got the support play that Sylar has, I don't want to hear people say Sylar's better than Burning, because if you put that, if you give Burning what Sylar has, Burning, guys, it's not even gonna fucking be close. Stop hating on Burning. Free Burning. Enough of this Sylar shit. I love Sylar, but come on now, let's be serious. Now, for the 5, Faith. Once again, for the same reason. Ake and Faith are the best at the 4 and the 5 for protecting their carries and making sure that their carries are able to do what they need to do in the game. For the opposing team, though, I like TC, which is going to surprise a lot of people, but TC, Ferrari, Funnick, Chuan, and I'm probably going to get a lot of shit for this, Trixie. And it's not that Trixie I think deserves to be there. That is a fucking aggressive team, but they have a safe mid lane. It's almost the same reason why I picked the DK Burning Navi Dendi with the team. That it's just that roster is nasty because you're aggressive all over the board, but your mid is very safe, and your mid also just happens to be one of the best team fighting mids in the game. So you have an aggressive lineup with one of the best mid players in team fights. Holy moly. Oh, man. You put that roster, you put those 2 rosters, oh, my God. Holy fuck. So good.
Nice.
But that the only thing I would feel more comfortable with is putting Chuan for Dendi. I mean, for Dendi, excuse me, for Puppy. But I just didn't want to put 2 Navi players on the same team, even though I ended up putting 2 IG players on the same team, which is kind of interesting. But, I felt people would forgive me for putting 2 IG instead of 2 Navi. So
all right,
that's my reason. Tell me that would be a sick fucking game.
No, it's going to be a great game. I think the All-Star game is going to be super exciting. And like you said, having these crazy good carries mixed with the other good players, and it's very interesting to see what happens.
because Team 2 will have to stop burning. And TC, even though he does an aggressive tri-lane as much as I think he should, if he can't, because Boba ends up doing it, he ends up soloing, they're going to have to stop burning. And they have the best players on the other team to like try to protect burning. And it's like, how is burning going to be able to, like, with all this, face first aggression?
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, TC can farm and be aggressive at the same time, like the best of them. That'll be fucking fun to watch. Especially for me, selfishly, because I've seen Burning do a lot of this. Like, he does the most with the least, and he comes back from like impossible odds. I'm curious to see how he'll manage in a situation like this. But I feel like, bro, you give him Aki and Faith. Oh my god. Holy shit.
All right. I like it. So I went ahead and just added your roster on my screen. So if you're watching the VOD, you can see it. I will go ahead. I'll make my All-Star team probably after the qualifiers, just in case, to see who qualifies.
Yeah, we'll do it again. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Stick it on there if we need to. But so
and let's talk about the goals, the stretch goals that people asked for earlier.
Stretch goals. Next page. All right.
Yep.
Stretch goals. We're almost to goal 2. Obviously, the Compendium you can purchase on the store for $9.99, $10. And every time you purchase it, $2.50. So if you are good at math, 25% goes towards the prize pool and adds it up. So we already have reached the first stretch goal, which was the owners receive a limited edition 125% battle booster that lasts until the end of the international. It also gives 25% increase to all your buddies that you or everybody you play with in game. Goal number 2 is the Compendium Courier gains additional stages, which that whole thing is going to be an interesting process to see what is added onto the Courier.
He has new colors and shit.
Yeah, it is definitely interesting. And then the last goal is that Compendium owners will receive a newly created immortal item.
Nice.
That should be cool. I guess.
If Valve sells 8,000 more, TI3 would be the highest prize pool in esports history.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like Valve has done a good job of having a user-paid international that cost them nothing. Capitalism at its finest. They are obviously Keynesians to the maximum power.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like they're doing that. I'm glad that they fixed the poly count thing, which bothered the shit out of me. How, people that they make money off of can't even get to the fucking international because they botched the goddamn ticket system.
Ticket process, yeah.
And though I love Valve and I met them and I like them and they've been very helpful and their guys are nice and cool and all. I feel like that was a big error, but they seem to have fixed some of those errors. It's unfortunate that they got very complacent with the venue, and the venue holds like 2 people, so nobody can watch it. And I think instead of opening up to fans, I think they should have just opened up to esports and the community and try to get esports and sponsors involved. If you're going to be relegated on space, like a small space, maximize the space. So I felt like this shouldn't have been a fan tournament to begin with. If we're only going to hold that many people, you might as well make the most impact and put important people there that can actually grow and expand your business. Even though I'm not going to get into the fact that Valve doesn't, they don't want to get even more into Dota 2 because they're software guys and don't want to be tied down to the same shit. And me and Matt are trying to talk them out of some of the stubbornness, but it is what it is. I feel like that's very smart. I dislike the idea, and I like the idea that the users are going to pay for it. I just hope that if Valve is going to make money off of us and have us pay for the fucking international, which basically promotes them and their items, they need to be taking the professional scene more seriously on their end. And they need to stop pussyfooting around the idea that they're software guys and that they don't want to, be the next Riot. You don't have to be Riot, but you can care about your product as much as Riot and show it tangibly instead of just fucking saying it and all that other bullshit. So I really hope to see that if we support Valve in this way, they take the leap of faith with us.
Yeah,
and do everything they can to promote this thing the way that they should, especially in the United States.
I think it's a pretty big deal. I mean, sure, $10. That's like the lunch. Like you don't eat lunch one day, you make your money back. But that's paying customers that a lot of people buy into this. This is a digital book. Obviously, you get the point booster, which is fine, but that's for in-game items and an in-game courier, all that kind of stuff that keeps you in the world of Dota. But still, $10. That's like a pretty good chunk of money for a lot of people. to support a game that they love and enjoy. And it's not like you're actually buying a new game because of this. Like, you're already playing Dota a lot, and this supports the free play model and all that kind of stuff. I think it's a great idea, and I like the fact that people seem to be enjoying it so far and are purchasing it.
I agree.
I hope that they continue along with this appendix and building out player profiles and things like that, making this a even better product, which I think they will. And if anything, we reach that second goal, they should be going, all in on this, making it the best they can, because it's proven that people want it and people are willing to pay the money for it. It's really, really good.
Because people give a shit about Dota.
Yes, people literally, legitimately love Dota and are very passionate about it, and they just need to take advantage of it, make it the best they possibly can.
Would you agree with me with the fact that the Compendium's not worth $10? It's not even close to being worth $10.
No,
people
not
bought it because they give a shit.
That's exactly why I
about
bought
international in Dota.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
That's the thing, and I hope Valve understands that the product you gave us isn't worth its weight in gold. It's not even worth its weight in copper. It's not even that good for $10. I hope
it's definitely exciting
this reaches one of them
because it
and that
gives you something to cheer about.
Care about them.
You got players to cheer for. You want your goals to be met, the things you made.
For sure.
If you want that 4th Roshan kill, you're gonna be cheering like, "Come on, go get Rosh. Let this game stall. Give me Rosh. I don't get 4."
Yeah, for sure. But no. I mean, it's a cool idea, but it's at its current state, it's not worth $10, and it's probably not even going to be worth $10 this year or even next year, because they're still trying to figure the kinks out. But people don't give a fuck. We care more about Dota. We want the international to be the best. We want this to be successful. Dota players don't want League of Legends to be bigger and better than Dota 2 in the competitive market. And I hope Valve understands that they're actually going to have to get more involved instead of copping out and saying that we're software guys. We don't want to get, we don't want Valve to become Dota 2.
Right.
So if people are going to pay for your events and you're going to get all the credit for it, it's just like the flip side thing, right? Like what we did for the RIT stuff and the Dota 101 Collegiate Tournament. Like, we don't mind paying the money. We paid a lot of money to have that thing done and to justify us coming up with this new endeavor, right? So, but if people end up supporting us down the road and they give us money and they watch our events and they do all this bullshit and they support the things like these shows and Dota 101 and all this other stuff, then it now becomes our duty and our job to pay it forward, right? To like make sure that we don't slack on content or information or blah 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 blah. It's the give and take that you do with your fans when your fans are now a big part of your success. And I really, 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 really do hope that people start pressuring Valve in order to start taking shit more seriously. And it's not that I'm against Valve. I actually really like those people and I really respect them and I have a high opinion of them. I just don't have a high opinion of that and some of the answers we got in regards to why they don't take the professional scene more seriously.
Yeah, but I think that this year is a bigger step forward than in years past. Yeah. We're going in the right direction. Sure, it might be a little bit slower, but I think we're going in the right direction, and the Compendium is a big step in that direction.
Yes.
If they can build those player profiles out and make them actual legit, like background, heroes they play, stats, all that kind of stuff, it's really powerful for players who have never watched professional Dota and see this international thing, and all of a sudden there's this little book. I think $10 is past that point where people just buy it out of curiosity. If it was $5, sure. It'd be more so that kind of Steam sale stuff where it's.
But they also have items and shit for like $19-20 now.
Right. So. And
then that courier is just a recycled Schmeevel courier from last year. They didn't really put any work into it. They just made them bigger. Yeah. Like, it's not worth the $10.
Or maybe
we care enough to purchase it.
What if they take the player profiles out, or keep them in for the paid one, but then maybe make it free to everybody? That might be something that would be interesting as well.
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah, for sure. I don't think they'll do it.
No, I don't think they'll do it either.
But it's for the same reason what I'm saying. I hope they start. Yeah, start
doing it.
I mean, yeah, we don't need to repeat the stuff, but now you know what I mean. Like, you know why I'm saying this,
right?
Because if we look at it objectively, it is what it is. Like, we're basically going to be paying for the international if we reach the goal, and that's cool. And I think it's an intelligent idea for them to do that because it allows them to do more. But I hope that with the kickbacks provided, they actually do more and they take it more seriously. Riot went all in on their shit. I'm not saying they have to do what Riot did,
No, no, not at all.
but I think they can take much larger steps in a direction that is right, the professional scene, and whether it's marketing or just stuff for the community or whatever. I don't even care, but get more involved.
Yeah.
And unify the competitive tournaments and come up with a competitive system so that we don't have fucking 50 million tournaments and nobody has like a true guideline until, you know what I mean? Like things like that. Like they can fix this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like Riot did. They don't have to be like the neo-Nazis like Riot are, but
Yeah.
they can fix the state. Yeah, yeah. They could prevent things like what happened to Empire, and all this roster changing bullshit. Like, just like the NFL, the NBA, and the MLB do, right? Like, T.O. would arguably be one of the top 50 receivers in the league right now, but he's not in the league. Why? Because of character and behavior, and how he doesn't represent the Shield. Like, you could do that. And you can definitely stop, team changing and ego and kid attitudes and all that bullshit. You can force these guys to increase their maturation by basically putting rules in place, right? Like if you're just a troublemaker, we don't want you, we don't need you. Mm-hmm. You're not bigger than the game, things like that. But that's
long term. You're looking a lot further in the future on where things can go.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely interesting. I think we should wrap this up though, because we went a little bit longer than we expected.
Yep.
If you're watching this video on YouTube, you probably have already found the YouTube channel. If you're watching it anywhere else, YouTube channel Flipside Tactics, FLIPSID3, and then Tactics. So if anybody gets confused and wants to find it. And also on the Flipside Tactics YouTube channel, all the Dota 101 stuff will be on there.
Yes, the new episode came out, the item episode.
Item episode is out, so go check that out. And also, there's a lot of other exciting stuff coming to that channel very shortly. Within probably the coming weeks.
Yeah, the documentary's coming out. Actually, we'll announce the YouTube, so you guys actually heard it first. Yeah. Within the next 24 hours, the documentary is going to be out, as well as the Dota 101 stuff. So for all you people asking, where's the Dota 101 shit, it's going to be back up, all the videos, and all that good stuff. We unfortunately lost all the views, so I will selfishly have to ask you guys to at least give us back the views if you can, because we switched from AO and we had to delete them. So, and YouTube was not willing to transfer anything over, so we're gonna need to build from the ground up again.
That's not a big deal. And then a lot of good content on that Dota 101 stuff will be on there. We said earlier, Dota for Dummies is a new video series we'll be doing. Gonna be short, quick, to the point, tutorial type stuff. The first one's done. We'll probably get that one up here soon, and then we'll record the rest of those and kind of power them through. And that's going to be a good content for people that are watching this. You're not really going to give a shit about that, but it's going to be a resource to give to your friends who are new to the world of Dota, and it's going to be made for a stepping stone into a bigger, greater thing. And then also that's kind of what Flipside Tactics is going to be, a bigger, greater thing. More of that to come in the future over the next couple of weeks once we get everything finalized and all that exciting stuff comes out. Comes through the pipe. I hate kind of teasing it each week. I know we've done it now like 3 weeks in a row in Dota Insight. Like, this Flipside Tactics thing's coming and we're going to do some stuff. That's about it. Sooner or later, we're going to have the whole thing out in the open. You're going to be able to see everything and kind of the plans and goals we have for that going forward. In the meantime, you can follow me on Twitter at IndieFinch. That's at the little at symbol and then INDIEFINCH. And that's the same as my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/IndieFinch. I've been streaming quite a bit more, and I'm going to keep doing that and interacting with people. And if you want to try to get a hold of me, those are kind of the two best ways. If you have any feedback for this show, please send it to dotainsight@gmail.com. For the time being, we'll get a new email up for this show specifically. This week was kind of a little bit different than the idea that we have going forward.
Yes.
Going forward, we're going to take, say, there's a Na'Vi game that happened. Or we'll use this past week as an example. Slark this week popped up. He was a big deal. A lot of people were talking about Slark and how he fits in the game. We're going to take those replays. We're going to find out where he was, worth the pick, where the game was made. Real quick, easy kind of summary for that game, and a little bit of analysis on why he worked, what he did. And then also, if you missed a tournament, say I missed the finals of this tournament, we'll have a couple of the key moments, highlights type things from that game. We'll play them, we'll talk about them, and we're going to do all this. I don't know if we can do it live or if we need to do all this post on video, but either way, the VODs will for sure be up on YouTube. And the MP3s will also be up on iTunes. So that's kind of the plan going forward. If you have any suggestions on what you'd like to see for a show like this, let us know. I guess the goal is kind of a Baseball Tonight style, but for Dota. It's kind of the recap, replay, analysis, all that kind of good stuff. So Frost, where can people find you? Do you use Twitter? I don't think you do.
I have Twitter at Frost Dota. I don't really use it that much. I have to.
It's hard.
Contrary to what people believe, I actually like my anonymity and
Yep.
yeah. So, but I would like you guys to support the Dota 101 in-house and the Dota 101 in-house academy, which is going to be tied into the coaching network that we have on FlipsideTactics.com. And what we're going to end up doing is, so for instance, this week we're going to prepare for this thing that we're going to do, which we'll announce next week, where we're going to have academy sessions. So like a lot of people didn't understand the tri-lane versus tri-lane episode that we had that are in the in-house. So what I'm going to do is create these 3v3 simulations and explain everything to the detail. Obviously specific. You'll have to RSVP, and in order to enter, you guys will get more of the information on ourzonedota.com. Those are the affiliates that we have that help me run the in-house league, as well as the Dota 101 channel. Constantly people are doing 1v1 scrimmages and 5v5 scrimmages with their teams, and we play all the time in pretty much all the parties that I think me and Finch make are either from the Dota Insight or the Dota 101 crew.
Yep, pretty much.
I don't really play with anybody else anymore. Sometimes that makes me sad. Sometimes it doesn't. And yeah, just support Flipside Tactics, our YouTube, our shows. Even if you don't like the Dota 101 show, you may like the Dota Insight show, and you definitely may like the Dota for Dummies show. And vice versa. And hopefully the goal is for you guys to start with like the Dota for Dummies and then graduate to like listening to Dota Insight and then graduating to another show that we'll be having, which I'm not going to mention yet. And then the Dota 101 stuff, so that you have the overarching thing that is Flipside Tactics, the all-encompassing Dota 2 Compendium. So yeah, and that is all. I appreciate the opportunity to be on your show and all that stuff. Michael J.
Yep, it was a day. It was a good one.
You did a very good job.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you very much.
To have you as the host.
Yeah. So going forward, lots of exciting stuff. Like we said, we need feedback. No feedback is bad feedback for the time being. We're open to all suggestions and ideas. And if you've been wondering, we want baseball tonight, but for Dota, and I want to see X, Y, and Z done, let us know, and we can do our best to make that happen. So we're signing off now. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll figure out a time schedule for next week, and going forward after that, we'll try to let you know either on Twitter. We'll put up a Steam announcement, all that kind of good stuff. We'll let you know somehow. We'll find you. All right. So thanks for watching, guys.
Free Kaipi!